ONOS is not available through Web of Science. These are two different subscription programs of the government. So they are not, they complement each other. So anybody who has used ONOS feel free to
not
comment.
available
You
through
must
Web
have
of
seen
Science.
it's
These
not
are
the
two
greatest
different
platform to search on a topic, right? ONOS is really not meant to be a discovery database.
So they are not.
If you know the
They
title
complement
and
each
you
other.
want the full
So
text of a
anybody who
paper
has
that you
used
cannot get
ONOS
otherwise, the
feels
government
not
organized a
available
huge
through-
amount of money, 2,000 crores, to get the subscription of publications from the 30 biggest publishers, catering to the Indian research ecosystem. Okay, so you already can go into the ONOS website. You can see the 30 publishers. They include some of the biggest publishers like Springer Nature, Elsevier, Wiley, Taylor Francis, ACS, etc. Okay. Again, I am mentioning there is no category called ABDC journals. There is no category called, these are different lists. The only way you can do the mapping is you can go and download the list of journals from the MJL for Web of Science, right? And just map it with the ABDC list. Both of them are available. ABDC list for 2022, that's the latest one, is available on their website. Download that list, download the list from Web of Science, compare using two things, the DOI, sorry, not the DOI, the ISSN number or the EISSN number of the journal, and in some cases, the title. But there is no, you can choose EISSN will be the right thing to be choosing when the journal only has a print, an online version. For journals which have both an online and a print version, okay, that is correct. Only core journals have. How can we find the UGC Care 1, Care 2 list? That is there on the UGC Care website, but as of today, there is no UGC Care. UGC Care has been scrapped. Okay. Affiliation, you search for affiliation if you know your institutions. If you want to see what publications are from my institution, you can search for the affiliation. Similar things for funding agency. If you know the funder, okay, a small word of caution about funding agency. If you go to, we will look at the funding document, details for a manuscript based on what is available or what is covered in the funding acknowledgement section. Okay. The question somebody has asked is, can I get a Web of Science subscription through ONOS? No, as of today, no. ONOS is only for the full text journals of the 30 publishers. Web of Science does show patent details. It is an add-on subscription called the Derwent Innovation Index. If this is something your institution is interested in, please contact a commercial team and they will get in touch with you. As we go once again to the search topic, I think that is very evident. Please remember, when you're searching in the topic section, you're searching in title, author, title, searching in abstract, you're searching in author keywords. Okay. So the best way to have a cumulative, all, exhaustive search would be topic. I would not recommend you to search in all fields. I'll tell you why. All fields also include sections like addresses. Now, for example, if I have an institution whose name is National Teachers Training Institute, okay? Any paper from that institute will be captured if I put that in this. If I put this particular query in all fields, that paper might be captured. Okay, so let's say I have National Teachers Training Institute, comma, Department of Creative Writing. Something like that. See, within 5 words, it is captured, but it might not be anything related to teachers. the importance of learning how to write well is for teachers. Okay. Now, a very pertinent question many of you might have is the near. What does that signify? Now, if I just say teacher or educator and just do writing. Now, please remember the moment you do not specify a Boolean operator, the default operator for Web of Science is and. Okay. I hope everybody understands what's a Boolean operator. This is in set theory when you have two sets of data and I say I want to merge these two sets and I put or, then I'm taking the data from both the groups. If I want to see put and, I'm just taking that data which appears in both the groups. Okay. It's common data. Now, if I do not put any operator, by default, operator is and. Now, teacher or educator and writing. So, so I'm searching for papers where either teacher is there and writing is there or educator and writing is there. Let's do it in topic. Can you see how many more papers did I get? And now the relevance decreases and the noise in the data set increases. Now I want to look for papers which are talking about teachers or educators where writing skills are important, like the writing skills of a teacher. So I expect that these will appear in the same sentence, right? Or if I think if it's the same paragraph, so accordingly, discretionarily think how many words they can be separated by. So typically in a sentence, the way you'd write a sentence, let's say 5 is good enough. You might say, no, 5 is too narrow. I would like to have 7 or 8, words in between. That's enough. So near forward slash a number indicates the number of words in between two keywords are separated by. And it's a bi-directional operator, which means teacher can be first and writing can be second. Okay, so the word writing can come later on in the sentence, or the word writing can come earlier on. Doesn't matter. It just means teacher and the word writing, or the word educator and the word writing must be separated by not more than 5 words. I'm just checking that this makes sense. This has been understood by, and this is one of the most important things when we are trying to write a query. Okay. Now, once you go to the data set, you still have another or many different ways where you can actually narrow down and make your result set more specific and precise. How will you do that? Okay. So first of all, if you're is that 5 referring to 5? No, 5 words, not 5 characters, 5 words. Now let us talk about how do I make sure that my data set has been able to capture the idea that I have correctly. You can see that these are the keywords, right? Now these keywords, EFL writing, as many of you know, is English as a foreign language, right? EFL. So these keywords have been created by machine learning, by Web of Science, by mining the most frequently occurring keywords in that particular data set. So if your data set is a good representative of what you need, these keywords should be relevant to what you are thinking of or your concept. Again, a small pause. I hope this makes sense. Please ask questions. We will clear them, or we'll try to clear these questions, especially related to query formation, right away. Now, once I have this particular thing, I would like to also make it even more narrow, or I'd like to make it more relevant. I can choose the publication year. Go and choose the final publication year, because on Web of Science, we typically give 2 publication dates, depending on whether an early access version of a paper is there or not. So a paper might have been published online as early access in 2023, and the final publication came in 2024. So what we would do is we would give it early access date 2023 and final publication date as 2024. You want to see only the final publication year? Just slide this arrow. So I want to see last 4 years. So I'm seeing the most recent research over here. Okay. I can say I want to see only articles. I want to see only review articles depending on the document type. We talked about researcher profiles in detail. Just see you show you. You can click over here and you can see what kind of research a particular researcher is doing. This is very important. Web of Science categories. A lot of questions right now has come on, what is impact factor, which subject area, or somebody said there are not too many journals from law. We have 254 subject areas on Web of Science. Okay. If you want to understand what is a scope note or what do they each journal category cover, can you go see my paper, Health Center? Please note that on the master journal list, whatever journal web page we are showing you is not of any hijacked or cloned journal. So if you are confused about what do I, if I'm going to the wrong journal page, please. IIT Kharagpur does have Web of Science, and you also take part in ONOS. Now, if I go over here in Health Center, you have scope notes over here. Can you see categories and collection scope notes? You can go over here to the code collection scope note. And for science citation index, just go over here. And for every subject area, you will be able to see what is the scope of that subject area, what kind of journals are being covered. So if you have any question on what is the scope of that particular category, please go over here to mgl.clarivate.com/health center. Now, this is a great way for you to actually narrow down your research to certain subject areas. So, for example, when we talk about the writing skills of teachers or educators and how it influences their classroom or pedagogical teaching, we can go and do educational research. 1,000 documents from education and educational research. Okay, great area, great way to look at relevant, documents. However, having said that, sometimes this is a broad category for the journal, not for the document level, right? It does not talk about what does a document cover. What is the scope of that document? It doesn't really tell you at a document level, at the record level. Okay, this is a legacy or inherited categorization depending on in which journal a particular paper has been published in. The problem here is that, let's say you have published in scientific reports or PLOS ONE. I hope many of you know about these two journals. These are multidisciplinary journals. Then at that moment, your document also gets classified into multidisciplinary. So let's say I have a paper in PLOS ONE on teacher education and writing. That will not show up if I put the Web of Science categories in education and educational research. Now, how do I mitigate this problem, right? We also have a document level classification called the citation topics. Now, this is a hierarchical system. The biggest categories, we have 10 major categories, or what we call as T macro. Then that is classified into 344 meso categories, further classified into almost 3,000 micro topics. Now, over here, can you see? The micro topics are extremely. So, for example, I have a category called teacher education. I want to understand, because a lot of the topics about writing actually belong to teacher education. So let's refine it. So now I have 215 results. And you see, so citation topics is a document level classification. Now, if I wanted to just look at papers on teacher education, you come down over here and you see the biggest topic here is social sciences, followed by education and educational research, followed by teacher education. Click on this. 66,000 results on teacher education. You can also look at which are the journals they belong to. Teacher and teacher education, see ZDM. So you can see the journals. Now, one of the biggest differentiators of Web of Science and any other database on the market is the fact that we have a huge amount of full text documents. Okay. Now, if I go and look at the last 20 years results, okay, just clicking over here. I'm going to go to publication years. Year published. Let's look at last 20 years. And that's it. We have 58 million records in the last few of 20 years. And out of them, 20 million documents, that's 40% of the documents that exist a full text. How will you access the full text? Please create an EndNote Click account. Again, we will be talking more about EndNote Click account on the third session in conjunction with the reference management system EndNote. But for now, please remember, you can go to Google. It's a simple browser plugin. It allows to create a DigiLocker and works in the background to identify any document that has a copyright non-violating full text available anywhere on the internet. So all you will do is if you see over here, I have my EndNote Click account. This is this purple. You can just go over here to EndNote Click and you can see this. You can just create your own log account. You can go to my locker. This is my locker, my DigiLocker with 2 GB space. You can create a different. And you see this? Going back. A document. You can also see the free full text from publisher. See? And this will work in the background to identify the paper. Can you see? It's identifying the paper. See, a publisher PDF is found. So automatically, the full text is identified. There is no separate subscription. This is a free service. All you need to do is just add this, to your Chrome and create an account. That's it. Going back. As I said, you can absolutely search by publication titles. One of the biggest publishers in the last 20 years has been PLOS ONE, followed by, these are big mega journals. You have PLOS ONE, then you have lecture notes in computer science, scientific reports, cancer research, also, that's not a paid journal, but very, very huge number of papers. Blood, physical review B, a high energy particle physics paper. So you can see, right? Which are some of the top, journals where people are publishing. Now, all my searches are saved in the search history. Again, remember that is only possible when you have an account. Now, if I go to teacher education, okay, this is something very important. Sometimes you might feel 22,000 journals on Web of Science. I do see there are databases with higher number of journals. So is that Web of Science is not as exhaustive? No, this is by design. We don't believe in indexing journals which are of a low quality. Neither do we believe indexing journals and removing them. Though we have been removing journals, we have been de-indexing and taking away the impact factor for journals. We don't do it for more than 20 to 30 journals a year. Our list is very stable. There are databases where you will find that, if you have 40,000 journals in their list, almost 20,000, almost like 50% of the content is inactive. Those journals do not exist anymore. So there is a very thin line about quality and quantity. We at Web of Science are more believing of the concept of maintaining quality. So that's the reason why even today an SCI index journal or a journal with an so and so impact factor carries a huge amount of weight in the scientific and academic publishing world. If you wanted to search by the affiliation of an institution, because one of the questions we got was from IIT Kharagpur. So what will you do? Go to affiliation and you can just type in, for example, in this case, I'll just type Kharagpur because automatically see IIT Kharagpur comes in. We have a parent-child relationship. So for example, if IIT Kharagpur has 4 schools, different, schools or departments, which are recognized as uh, autonomous centers over there, we will say that, we will add them to a parent IIT Kharagpur. So you can see 41,000 publications in the last 20 years. I just want to see in the last 3 years, what have they done? Get a citation report. Absolutely possible. Click on the citation report. You'll be able to see which has been some of your best journals, best publications. So for example, this one, Metaverse Beyond the Hype from International Journal of Information Management, in the last 3 years has been your best performing paper with 855 citations till date. And we do give you a breakup of year wise. So for example, in it was published in October 22. In 22, it garnered 35. In 23, it garnered 321. In 2024, it garnered 463 publications. I want to also understand who cites IIT Kharagpur research. Just need to go here, go to affiliations, and you can see who are the people who are citing IIT Kharagpur work. IIT system, yes, but other than that, Chinese Academy of Sciences, you have CNRS, you have King Saud, you have CSIR, you have a lot of Chinese institutions that cite work in, published by IIT Kharagpur. Great way to identify potential collaborators, or even, if you want to suggest a reviewer, for your paper, this is the way to go. You can see the H index of your institution or for any data set. The last thing that I wanted to mention was you can also look for a paper, the context of citation, again, a unique feature on Web of Science. So I want to see IIT Kharagpur papers that have been cited in the discussion section. So now we see changing metaverse beyond the AI for next generation computing. Okay, this is cited in the discussion section of 51 papers. Just click on it. And now you'll be able to find exactly in the text where this paper is cited. Okay, very, very helpful feature when you're doing a study on, just trying to do a literature review, especially for younger students who do not have much, information about that particular topic. So I think one of the posters did say that students from the institution are attending. So if you are new to a field, I would really recommend the way to do a literature search is do a broad keyword-based search. Then you can, narrow it down by using the recent years of publication. You can narrow it down by a citation topic. Then you can also narrow it down by seeing which are some of the top papers published in the discussion section, or published top papers which are citing, which are being cited in the discussion section of other papers or in the methodology section of other papers, to know that they have created a real impact on the technology being discussed, and then go from there. You can read the in-text mention to quickly understand why did they cite a particular paper. We will end today's session here. I have not deliberately covered certain things related to journal selection, the journal attributes on Web of Science. These will be covered in the second session on 29th. I'll stop sharing, but I will take up the questions. Vishal, are there any questions that, I tried to answer a lot of them as they were coming in, but any questions that you think I should answer, please let me know.
Yeah, sure, Subhashri. Before that, I think I have a couple of questions regarding the certifications. I did explain this right at the beginning of the session, but still, maybe a couple of you joined late, so you missed out on that. Uh, the certificates, see, it was actually clearly given in the email when you registered for the session. I'll actually this time I will actually share my screen, what show you what was there. So just give me a minute. Yeah. Okay. So my screen should be visible to you now. Uh, See, this is where you had registered for the series, right? And you would have gotten, this kind of a, okay, just a minute. Yeah. You would have reached on this kind of a screen where you would have registered your to attend this session by giving in all the details, your own name, email address, etc. And along with this, here, this is what you would have read definitely. But in case you have missed out, please read this again. And do not please ask questions like send us certificates for each session. It clearly says, the agenda clearly says that you have to attend all three sessions. No certificates are given for individual sessions. You, after attending all three sessions, you have to attempt the quiz, and you have to score at least 70% marks to get the to get the certificate. All these conditions are mandatory. Even if one condition is not met, for example, if you miss out on any one of the three sessions, you will not get the quiz. And if you attend all three sessions and you attempt the quiz, and you score less than 70%, in that case as well, you will not get the certificate. It's quite simple. I don't think there's, rocket science involved in this. It's very simple. And regarding the recording of the session, it's not recorded, right? Uh, these are live sessions, and these are meant to be, to be attended live. So I'm afraid we will not be able to share any recordings with you because we did not record it in the first place. For those of you who are running short of time and want to jump off the call, you're free to do it. Uh, that's not a problem. Yeah. And Subhashri, as far as questions are concerned, yes, I did go through the session and, through the chat actually. And I think you answered most of the questions, right? So, yeah, I think we can move on to the next one. We can wind up the session today, and maybe, uh, you know, request them to attend the next session, which is scheduled on the 29th, which will be Wednesday, same time, 11 to 12. Subhashri, any closing comments from you?
Nothing, just a small thing. There are certain, questions which are related to how do we compare to competitor databases. Please be mindful. We cannot, I mean, generically, we have tried to answer, but we cannot be doing a public comparison of our database with another. It's not fair. It's not ethical. Because every database has their own strength,
Absolutely.
and we
Absolutely.
will not do that. So please do not ask us to give you answers. There is a lot of literature out there on the internet that does, there have been publications which do these kind of comparisons. Please feel free to read them. Just do a Google search. but we will not be discussing these questions publicly, on a forum like this. It's not the right place. Wish have anything, if you want
Yeah,
to add.
yeah, absolutely correct, Subhashri. And yeah, uh, see, questions keep coming in. People are beginning to send their individual questions on their own sessions, but I don't think there's an end to it. So we'll have to stop right here, and we'll look forward to the next session. Yeah.
Yes. Just one thing, there was a question somebody has asked. The person is an editor, and they talked about a strategy of how do I ensure that my journal gets selected to Web of Science. Unfortunately, today is not the scope for that kind of a discussion. However, I would like to direct you to a very well written blog. It is called Journal Selection Criteria Web of Science. Just type in these 6 words on Google. That blog will come. Very, very clearly lays down what do our editors look for. That should serve as the first guiding principle of how do I make my journal adhere, or bring my journal up to that standard, what the Web of Science editors are looking for. So just search for journal selection criteria Web of Science. Thank you.
All right, then. Thank you so much, everyone. And we look forward to seeing all of you uh, on Wednesday, 29th of January, same time, 11 to 12. Thank you so much and have a great day. Bye bye.
Thank you, everybody.